do 100%.
So do you think that the Europe, Europe is trying to take them down? There's court cases on that. Do you think Apple is going to get away with it and like everything else, or everything every other time, or is someone
I
going to
think they
come?
might have a think they might have a tough way through it, but I think they could definitely get away with it.
My
If
thing
someone
is,
was to take them down, if someone
because
was to take them
we
down,
live
who's
in
the
the
first one?
U.S., right? Because we live in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I don't think those rulings are really going to affect us. It's going to more affect, whoever distributes to Europe, basically.
So you're saying
Um,
that if the European Union came down hard on Apple and said, no more this controlling shit with repairs, our Europeans have a right to repair. You're
mhm.
saying that if the EU comes down, are you saying that the EU is going to be first to bring them down like that? Or would the
I'm saying
US make a ruling first?
I'm saying if they do, um, it might lead to like presidents for us to do it, but it's not going to be automatic that we get right to repair as well.
Right, but you're
Because
saying that the EU is going to do it first, do you think?
I think they would,
I
yeah.
think they have a better chance at doing it
Because
first.
I'm not. I did see the story. I didn't see the outcome of it, but I did see that they were. I think they were suing Apple because they did not want to use a universal charger. Switch to USB-C. I didn't see the outcome of that, but I do know that they were being sued in Europe because of that, because everybody had agreed to use a universal charger.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know. I'll have to look that up. Huh.
I don't know if it's still going on or if it concluded. I just saw that, like, you see things pop up on your news feed or whatever.
I mean,
You just kind of glance at it.
yeah, I mean, Apple's being sued for a shitload of things right now. They're battling against Epic Games. I wish you guys knew about that so I could talk about it more. Spotify and all of that. So I mean, now let me ask you this. You know, Jose, I don't know if you remember, but Bert was talking about how well Apple doesn't make its own processors anymore. They
Mhm.
didn't, but now they do. Do you think Apple made a good move moving to M1?
Yes, I think they did. As I said before, they weren't even making their own, screens or whatever. I think it's a good move for them to move, and to start making their own products, basically. Because, as I said, if they have, you know, they could have more quality control, I guess. Because, they were having, Samsung or whatever send them the screens, and they would have to certify them. I think that would save money for Apple, and you know they might pass that on to the consumer, maybe not.
That was going to be my next question. Like if they do start making their own parts, like the screens, the chip, and all that stuff, it's like would it really change the price? Because now that right now that's their argument that they have to pay other companies to, make their stuff. I was like, okay, how about if you start making your own shit? Like, would that change the price of the electronic devices that you're selling us, or will you just keep it
Well,
at
it
the same price?
it could, because if they're paying less for a phone overall, they could lower the price and still be making the same profit or even more. Let's say, I don't know how much an iPhone costs to make, but let's say it's costing them, like 500 now, and they're selling it for 800. They're making 300 profit or whatever. But if it drops for them, like $100 a phone, they could still sell it for 500 and they're making $400 profit per phone. So it kind of depends, like on how much they're actually saving making their own, products, or,
Right.
So on that, I mean, they don't want to lose $400 in profit. Back then, if this was Steve Jobs, I think he would still sell phones at $1,000. With Tim Cook, he says, "This phone is at 100. It's $1,000. Incredible." That's how he talks. And people are like, "Well, ew, why the fuck am I gonna pay? Why am I gonna pay you $1,000?" Steve Jobs would say it, and it was like God, right? Because Steve Jobs meant it. And when Steve Jobs said, this is really cool and this is really something new, we actually got something new. With Tim Cook, every year it's like, the camera's been upgraded. I'll keep my phone, right? Now, to us techie people are like, holy shit, if he does 120 hertz, that would be awesome, right? Me and you guys would be like, awesome, right? But they make their own, now for their phones and their iPads, they make their own chips. For the Macs, they never used to. They went, if you remember, they went with Power before, and then in 2005, they switched to Intel, and now they switched to M1. Now, and they're releasing the iPad with the M1. They released the 2 MacBooks with the M1, and they released the Mac Mini, and now the iMac. Next year, I mean, and hopefully this fall, we're going to get maybe the MacBook Pro 14, 16-inch, and then we're going to get next year Mac Pro, iMac Pro, 27-inch iMac, or maybe a 32-inch iMac, right? I think it's a good idea to make their own parts, but guess what? They didn't lower the parts very much. They lowered your phone by what, $50, and it still didn't make a difference. Why did they lower it $50? Because they didn't include the power brick or the headphones. And if you were a person who maybe you didn't have a USB charger, or maybe you lost your cord or it broke, or maybe you had a USB charger but not a USB-C charger, and unfortunately your cord broke, you had 2 options. Do I go get a new cord and charge it with this, or do I go buy a $20 or $30 USB-C, right? And they're still making their money off of it because people are still going to buy cords, but they're not lowering their prices. Their MacBook is $12.99. It's pretty much the same. Now, the reason the MacBook Air is cheaper is because they put a lot less into that MacBook Air. But it's still the same. They're not changing their damn prices. And if they do, it's so minimal that the customer doesn't notice it.